The dust-choked atmosphere of Epsilon 9 mining colony hung thick with desperation. Massive processing towers cut jagged silhouettes against the perpetual twilight, their rusted frames a testament to decades of human subjugation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez moved carefully between the towering industrial structures, her environmental suit filtering out the toxic mixture of industrial waste and artificial atmosphere. Another 17-hour shift had just ended, and the human workers trudged back to their cramped living quarters, if you could call them that. Prefabricated metal boxes stacked like cargo containers, each unit barely large enough to contain a human body, and the few possessions allowed by the hegemony's strict resource allocation protocols. Elena's fingers traced the outline of the strange artifact hidden beneath her protective gear. Found during a routine geological survey, the object was unlike anything she'd seen in her 15 years of archaeological research. Its surface seemed to shift subtly when she wasn't looking directly at it, composed of a material that defied conventional spectral analysis. A warning klaxon cut through the ambient noise of the mining complex. Elena tensed, recognizing the sound of an incoming hegemony patrol. The massive Bikdal enforcement units, a grotesque fusion of biological and mechanical components, began sweeping through the worker zones. Their articulated limbs moved with predatory precision, scanning workers with cold, multispectral sensors. Identification codes, a mechanized voice demanded. The workers complied, each presenting their subcutaneous tracking chips. Elena's heart raced. Her own chip was a carefully crafted forgery, created by the underground resistance network. One slip, one moment of hesitation, and she'd be terminated on the spot. The hegemony enforcer paused, its sensory array focused directly on her. Elena remembered the training. Breathe slowly. Match the subtle body language of the other workers. Do not show fear. 3 seconds stretched into an eternity. Then movement. The enforcer shifted, moving to the next worker. Elena exhaled, the artifact pulsing almost imperceptibly against her body. Something was different about this object, something the resistance needed to understand. Her communication implant, a black market modification that circumvented hegemony monitoring, vibrated with a coded message. Underground resistance leader Marcus Chen had intercepted communications suggesting a major hegemony operation was imminent. Something was changing in the galactic power structure, and humanity was about to be caught in the crossfire. As darkness fell, Elena made her way to a maintenance tunnel, one of the few spaces not constantly monitored. Her fingers carefully extracted the artifact, turning it in the dim light. Microscopic patterns seemed to dance across its surface, telling a story older than the current galactic civilization. A holographic projection flickered to life, barely visible, more sensation than image. Fragments of star systems, planetary alignments, mathematical sequences that didn't match any known computational language. "What are you trying to tell me?" Elena whispered. The artifact pulsed. Once. Twice. In the maintenance tunnel, surrounded by the industrial waste of human oppression, the first spark of humanity's revolution began to take shape. Something ancient was awakening, and the hegemony had no idea what was coming. Outside, another hegemony patrol moved through the colony. Inside the tunnel, Dr. Elena Rodriguez held the key to everything, a key that would soon change the fate of an entire species. The colony of New Providence burned. Captain Marcus Chen watched through the reinforced view screen of the Resistance's last operational command ship as hegemony warships methodically reduced another human settlement to ash. 3 massive plasma cannons carved geometric patterns of destruction across the planet's surface, turning cities into molten craters, vaporizing decades of human existence in moments. This was the 3rd colony destroyed in the last 72 hours. Estimated civilian casualties. Chen's voice was a controlled whisper, but his eyes blazed with a fury that could melt steel. Lieutenant Arya Kumar's fingers danced across the holographic interface. Preliminary estimates, 2.3 million. Mostly workers, families, children. Her voice cracked slightly. Entire generational lines. Erased. The resistance had known the hegemony was brutal, but this was calculated extermination. In the cramped command center, cobbled together from salvaged ship components and hidden within an abandoned asteroid mining complex, a dozen resistance fighters worked with machine-like precision. Each wore a neural interface that allowed split-second tactical coordination, a technology developed in the deepest, most secret human research labs. Marcus studied the tactical display. The hegemony's attack pattern was familiar, systematic, designed to crush not just human population centers, but human hope itself. They'd done this before, dozens of times across human-controlled space. Reduce. Eliminate. Forget. Not this time. A communication burst cut through the standard hegemony encryption. Marcus's neural interface translated instantly, a standard threat broadcast, meant to terrorize any remaining human resistance. Attention remaining human populations, the mechanical voice intoned. Continued resistance is futile. Your species has been evaluated and found insufficient for galactic participation. Surrender is your only logical recourse. Marcus Chen laughed, a sharp, dangerous sound that made his command crew turn. Insufficient, he repeated. We'll show them insufficient. The plan had been forming for months, developed in secret research complexes, tested in simulations that pushed the boundaries of human tactical thinking. A mission so audacious, so seemingly impossible, that the hegemony would never anticipate it. Prepare Operation Prometheus, Chen ordered. The command crew exchanged looks. This was a point of no return. Operation Prometheus wasn't just an attack. It was a statement, a declaration that humanity would not go quietly into extinction. The target, a primary hegemony battle cruiser, the CSS Dominion. Over 2 kilometers of advanced weaponry, shield technology beyond human understanding, capable of obliterating entire planetary defense networks. Their weapon, something completely unexpected. Lieutenant Kumar initiated the final preparation sequence. Quantum entanglement drives hummed to life, their energy signatures carefully masked to appear like nothing more than background radiation. A single human ship, the RMS Defiance, began its approach. To the hegemony sensors, it would look like a standard debris drift. Nothing more. Marcus Chen watched the tactical display, every muscle coiled like a spring. Years of human suffering, of systematic oppression, of being treated like vermin to be exterminated, all of it came down to this moment. All systems are go, Kumar reported. The RMS Defiance moved closer to the massive hegemony battle cruiser. Sensors remained blind. Shields remained inactive. For New Providence, Chen whispered. And then everything changed. Deep beneath the radiation-scorched surface of Nexus 7 Research Complex, Dr. Aisha Nyong'o's hands moved with surgical precision. Holographic interfaces flickered around her, displaying quantum computations that would have driven lesser minds to madness. The artifact Elena Rodriguez had discovered was now spread across multiple analysis chambers, its impossible geometries defying every known law of physics. Each time they thought they understood a fragment, it would shift, revealing new complexities that suggested something far beyond mere technology. Breakthrough, she whispered, her neural interface flooding with data streams. Around her, a team of humanity's most brilliant minds worked in perfect synchronization. Refugees, scientists, former corporate researchers, military strategists, all united by a single purpose: survival. Revenge. Transformation. The quantum computing prototype hummed to life. Unlike traditional systems, this wasn't just a machine. It was a living network, adaptive beyond anything the hegemony had ever conceived. Biological neural pathways integrated with quantum processing cores, creating something that was neither pure technology nor pure biology. A holographic projection materialized, a 3D representation of the artifact's internal structure. Impossible mathematical sequences danced, revealing glimpses of technologies that seemed to bend the very fabric of reality. The neural interface is stable, reported Dr. Konstantin Volkov, a Russian cybernetics expert who had escaped a hegemony research prison 3 years earlier. Quantum entanglement at 98.7% coherence. Aisha's eyes narrowed. The human body was about to become something entirely new. The first test subject, a volunteer from the Resistance, sat motionless in a containment chamber. Military records showed him as Marcus Chen's most trusted special operations soldier. Now he would become something more. Nanotechnological interfaces began to weave through his cellular structure. Not just an enhancement, but a complete reimagining of human potential. The neural links would allow instantaneous tactical coordination, biological adaptation beyond current understanding, and capabilities that would make the hegemony's most advanced troops look like primitive machines. Initiating primary integration sequence, Aisha commanded. The chamber filled with a soft blue light. Quantum algorithms that had taken years to develop began their complex dance. Each nanosecond was a potential point of failure, or transcendence. Monitors tracked the soldier's vital signs, but vital signs seemed an inadequate term for what was happening. His DNA was rewriting itself. Neural pathways were expanding, creating connection matrices that defied current scientific understanding. Outside the research complex, hegemony detection systems remained blind. The entire facility was wrapped in a quantum camouflage field, a technology so advanced it essentially wrote itself out of existence for any external observers. Cellular restructuring, at 67%, Volkov reported. Quantum entanglement stable. The soldier's body began to change. Muscles became more efficient. Cellular regeneration accelerated. Neural processing speed increased exponentially. But it was more than physical enhancement. This was an evolutionary leap. A communication burst came through the Resistance's encrypted channel. Captain Chen's voice, urgent and compressed. "We need that prototype. Now." Aisha allowed herself a rare smile. They weren't just developing a weapon. They were rewriting the definition of human potential. The chamber's light intensified. The soldier's eyes snapped open. No longer fully human, but something far more interesting. Humanity's next evolution had begun. The ghost of a hegemony communication relay station hung in the cold vacuum of the Sigma-9 quadrant. To any standard sensor array, it appeared abandoned, a relic of standard galactic infrastructure. But inside, something entirely different was happening. Captain Marcus Chen watched through a quantum-encrypted neural link as his most advanced infiltration team prepared to strike. The enhanced soldier from Dr. Nyong'o's prototype program moved with impossible precision, quantum-entangled neural interfaces, allowing split-second tactical coordination that defied traditional warfare concepts. "Target is live," whispered Lieutenant Arya Kumar, her voice a barely perceptible vibration through the team's shared consciousness. "Hegemony command protocols are cycling. We have a 2.7-minute window of minimal detection." The team moved like liquid shadow. 4 operatives, each enhanced beyond human limitations, each carrying technologies that would have seemed like pure science fiction mere months ago. Their adaptive camouflage made them essentially invisible, quantum algorithms constantly rewriting their presence to match surrounding environmental signatures. One touch from their specialized interface devices, and the entire hegemony communication network would become a weapon. Marcus watched the tactical display, a complex 3-dimensional hologram that showed potential infiltration paths, communication flow, and potential resistance points. Each potential scenario played out in milliseconds, quantum computing allowing them to predict and counter potential hegemony responses before they could even be conceived. This was more than a military operation. This was a statement. The first breakthrough came unexpectedly. A data stream that was simultaneously everywhere and nowhere, a quantum communication burst that would rewrite the entire understanding of information warfare. "Infiltration successful," Kumar reported. But success was an inadequate word for what was happening. They weren't just accessing the hegemony's communication network. They were fundamentally rewriting its operational infrastructure. Entire command protocols were being subtly manipulated. Supply lines would mysteriously redirect. Military units would receive contradictory orders. The massive, seemingly invincible hegemony war machine would begin to cannibalize itself. A secondary objective came into focus. Intelligence gathered during preliminary infiltrations had revealed something far more significant than a simple communication relay. This station was a key node in the hegemony's galactic suppression network. Databases containing records of every species they had systematically eliminated, planetary coordinates of hidden resistance movements, technological suppressions that had kept entire civilizations from reaching their true potential. "We're downloading everything," Kumar said, her voice tight with a mixture of rage and triumph. Marcus watched as terabytes of suppressed history began to unravel. Every eliminated civilization, every species deemed insufficient by the hegemony's brutal calculus. Humanity was about to expose it all. The enhanced infiltration team began their extraction. But this was more than a simple data raid. This was the first true act of resistance that would shake the foundations of galactic power. As they prepared to disconnect, something unexpected happened. The artifact, the mysterious object Dr. Elena Rodriguez had discovered, seemed to pulse. A quantum resonance that traveled through their neural interfaces. For a brief moment, every team member saw something. Fragments of a history older than the hegemony. Glimpses of a cosmic narrative that suggested humanity's role was far more significant than anyone had imagined. "Mission complete," Kumar reported. But nothing was truly complete. This was just the beginning. The grand chamber of the Galactic Conclave fell silent. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of a holographic projection that would be simultaneously broadcast to trillions of sentient beings across multiple star systems. Behind her, the artifact pulsed with an energy that defied conventional understanding, its quantum resonance creating subtle distortions in the very fabric of the chamber. For millennia, Elena began, her voice calm and surgical. The hegemony has presented itself as the arbiter of galactic potential, as the ultimate judge of which species deserves to evolve, to expand, to exist. Holographic displays began to populate the space around her. Planetary graveyards, civilizations reduced to archaeological footnotes, entire species systematically eliminated. "What I am about to reveal," she continued, "will dismantle everything you believe about galactic history." The first revelation was brutal in its simplicity. The hegemony's records, now fully decrypted by human quantum computing systems, showed a systematic elimination of any species that demonstrated potential for rapid technological or evolutionary advancement. Not just suppression. Deliberate extinction. Humanity was far from the first, but they would be the last. Fragments of an ancient prophetic text began to overlay the historical records. Written in a language older than the hegemony's oldest archives, it spoke of a forgotten species that would emerge to reset the cosmic balance. The translation algorithms struggled, producing fractured but profound messages. When the silent ones awaken, the architects of suppression will tremble. A species born of resistance, forged in the crucible of elimination. The key is not in survival, but in transformation. Elena's voice cut through the historical revelations. We are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for every species that was deemed insufficient. Every civilization erased from galactic memory. The quantum artifact began to resonate more intensely. Holographic projections flickered, showing planetary alignments, mathematical sequences that suggested a deeper cosmic pattern. Captain Marcus Chen's voice emerged through a secure communication channel. Historical records confirm. The hegemony has systematically eliminated over 247 independent civilizations in the past 10,000 galactic cycles, always under the pretense of maintaining galactic stability. But this was more than a historical expose. This was an indictment, a declaration of war. Dr. Aisha Nyong'o's research team had discovered something even more profound. The artifact was more than a technological relic. It was a key, a reset mechanism for fundamental galactic power structures. The hegemony's control is built on a lie, Elena declared. A carefully constructed narrative of genetic and technological superiority. We have the proof, not just of their crimes, but of their fundamental misconception about evolution, about potential. The holographic display shifted. Side-by-side comparisons of hegemony technological development and human adaptive capabilities. Where the hegemony saw linear progression, humans demonstrated exponential, unpredictable evolution. A transmission burst through the Galactic Conclave's security protocols. Marginalized species, those who had survived previous hegemony purges, began to send confirmation signals, support signals. Humanity was no longer alone. This is not just our fight, Alina concluded. This is a cosmic reset, and it starts now. The artifact pulsed one final time. A quantum resonance that seemed to whisper across light years. Everything was about to change. The quantum weapon materialized at the edge of the hegemony's primary defense cluster, a structure so massive it could obliterate entire solar systems with a single pulse. Captain Marcus Chen watched through a neural interface that was no longer purely technological, no longer simply human. The enhanced soldiers around him were living weapons, their bodies and minds transformed beyond any previous understanding of biological potential. Weapon charged, Lieutenant Arya Kumar reported, her voice a complex harmonic that carried multiple simultaneous communication frequencies. What the hegemony didn't understand, could never understand, was that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was adaptation, transformation, the ability to become something entirely new in response to existential threat. The quantum weapon wasn't a traditional weapon. It was a reality manipulation device, developed from the mysterious artifact's underlying principles. Where traditional weapons destroyed, this would fundamentally rewrite the operational parameters of entire technological systems. The first pulse was silent. Hegemony defense networks began to disintegrate, not through destruction, but through fundamental reconfiguration. Entire communication matrices collapsed, their underlying logic rewritten by quantum algorithms that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Primary defense grid compromised, Kumar announced. But this was more than a military operation. This was an evolutionary statement. Dr. Aisha Nyong'o's research had unlocked something profound. The human body, enhanced, transformed, could now interface directly with quantum-level information systems. The soldiers weren't just carrying weapons. They were weapons. Marcus Chen felt the quantum resonance through every modified cell of his body. Memories of human suffering, colonies destroyed, families eliminated, generations of systematic oppression, transformed into pure, focused energy. The hegemony's most secure communication hub began to destabilize, not through conventional hacking, but through a quantum interference pattern that rewrote its fundamental operational parameters. We're not just fighting, Chen whispered. We're rewriting the rules of conflict itself. Marginalized species across multiple star systems watched in real time. The quantum communication burst carried more than information. It carried hope. A demonstration that resistance was possible, that systematic oppression could be challenged. The enhanced soldiers moved with impossible precision. Each motion calculated across multiple potential futures, quantum computing allowing them to exist simultaneously in multiple tactical scenarios. A hegemony battle cruiser, a vessel that could glass entire planetary surfaces, suddenly found its primary weapon systems reconfigured, not destroyed, transformed, turned into something that could no longer be a weapon of mass destruction. Quantum cascade at 89% synchronization, Kumar reported. The artifact, the mysterious object that started this entire journey, pulsed in resonance with the attack. Fragments of an older, more complex cosmic narrative began to emerge. Humanity wasn't just fighting the hegemony. They were part of a larger evolutionary process. 3 more hegemony defense clusters collapsed, not through explosive destruction, but through fundamental logical reconfiguration. Target neutralized, Chen said. But neutralization was an inadequate word for what had just happened. They weren't just winning a battle. They were demonstrating a fundamental truth about evolution, about potential, about the nature of resistance itself. The quantum weapon continued its silent revolution, and everything was about to change. The galactic core trembled. What remained of the hegemony's central command structure hung like a broken machine, its once impenetrable defenses reduced to quantum-fractured remnants. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the epicenter of humanity's greatest triumph, the mysterious artifact now fully integrated with a network of quantum communication relays that stretched across multiple star systems. Hegemony's central governance has been completely dismantled, Lieutenant Arya Kumar reported, her enhanced neural interface processing information at speeds that would have driven a standard biological mind to madness. This was more than a military victory. This was a cosmic reset. Liberated species began to emerge from centuries of suppression. The quantum communication network, humanity's most significant technological achievement, allowed instantaneous coordination across previously unimaginable distances. Civilizations that had been isolated, oppressed, systematically eliminated now found themselves part of a new galactic dialogue. Captain Marcus Chen observed the holographic displays showing the cascading effect of their revolution. Supply lines collapsed. Military structures disintegrated. The very infrastructure of galactic control simply unraveled. Dr. Aisha Nyong'o's research team had discovered something profound during the final stages of the conflict. The artifact was more than a technological key. It was a reset mechanism for galactic evolutionary patterns. "We're not just liberating," Elena said, her voice carrying across multiple communication spectrums. "We're rebalancing." The transformed human soldiers moved across liberated territories. No longer simple military units, they were living embodiments of a new kind of existence. Biological systems so advanced they could interface directly with technological and quantum infrastructures. Marginalized species watched and learned. The human approach wasn't conquest, it was transformation. Fragments of the ancient prophetic text continued to reveal themselves. Each revelation suggested that humanity's role was far more significant than simple resistance. They were a catalyst, a species designed to break cycles of systematic oppression. Galactic power redistribution at 67%, Kumar announced. The hegemony's central archives, now fully accessible, revealed the true depth of their systematic elimination. Over 247 civilizations had been deemed insufficient and quietly erased from existence. Humanity would ensure their memories would not be forgotten. New governance structures began to emerge, not through military conquest, but through quantum-level communication networks that allowed unprecedented levels of cooperation. Species that had been enemies for millennia found themselves capable of communication, of understanding. The artifact pulsed, a quantum resonance that seemed to whisper across light years. Marcus Chen understood now. This wasn't just about revenge. This was about evolution, about breaking cycles of oppression that had defined galactic civilization for millennia. "We are not conquerors," Elena broadcast to the emerging galactic community. "We are a reset mechanism, a species born to break impossible cycles." Liberated species began to send confirmation signals, support signals. The quantum communication network hummed with possibilities. The first truly cooperative galactic governance was taking shape, not through force, not through elimination, but through a radical reimagining of potential. Humanity had not just survived. They had transformed everything. The artifact pulsed one final time, a quantum resonance that carried the promise of a new cosmic narrative. Everything had changed. The New Horizon colony stood as a testament to everything humanity had become. Dr. Elena Rodriguez walked through corridors that were no longer simply technological infrastructure, but living systems that breathed and adapted with quantum precision. Generations had passed since the Great Revolution, and humanity had transformed beyond anything their ancestors could have imagined. The artifact, now fully integrated into the colony's quantum communication network, pulsed with a soft, rhythmic energy. It was no longer just an object, but a living bridge between human potential and cosmic understanding. Captain Marcus Chen's granddaughter, Admiral Aria Chen, studied the long-range quantum mapping displays. The galaxy had changed. Fundamentally. Irrevocably. Incoming transmission. Her neural interface announced. Not from any traditional communication system, but through the quantum resonance network that now connected liberated civilizations. The holographic display showed something unexpected. Fragments of a cosmic pattern that suggested there were deeper mysteries beyond their current understanding. The marginalized species they had liberated were now partners in exploration, in understanding. Dr. Aisha Nyong'o's final research, completed moments before her transcendence into a quantum consciousness, had revealed tantalizing hints. The artifact was more than a technological key. It was a map. A guide to something larger. We are not the endpoint, Elena told the gathering of quantum-enhanced humans and their allied species. We are a waypoint. The transformed human colonies were no longer confined to traditional biological or technological limitations. Each individual was a living network, capable of processing information across multiple dimensions simultaneously, not just enhanced, evolved. Aria Chen's neural interface began to decode the incoming transmission. Star charts that didn't match any known galactic mapping. Mathematical sequences that suggested the existence of realities beyond current comprehension. Something is calling, she reported. The artifact pulsed more intensely. Humanity had discovered that their greatest strength was never about conquest. It was about adaptation, about potential, about the ability to become something entirely new in response to the unknown. The colonies that had once been sites of systematic oppression were now centers of unprecedented cooperation. Species that had been enemies for millennia worked together, their quantum communication networks allowing levels of understanding that would have been impossible in previous galactic iterations. Elena Rodriguez remembered the early days of the resistance. The colonies destroyed. The systematic elimination. The moment when everything seemed hopeless. Now hope was no longer a concept. It was a fundamental force of cosmic evolution. Preliminary analysis complete, Aria announced. The transmission suggests the existence of multiple quantum realities, potential pathways to civilizations beyond our current understanding. The artifact's quantum resonance began to shift. Not a threat, not a weapon, but an invitation. Humanity had learned that true power wasn't about domination. It was about potential, about the ability to transform, to understand, to become. We are ready, Elena said, her voice carrying across quantum communication networks that stretched beyond traditional understanding. The artifact pulsed one final time, a quantum resonance that seemed to whisper across multiple realities. The next journey was about to begin.